The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. A Kern County Superior Court judge yesterday slapped a gag order on the case against Jaqueline and Trezell West, the adoptive parents charged with murder in the disappearance of Orrin and Orson West. That gag order means prosecutors, defense attorneys, and more than 30 witnesses are prohibited from discussing the case in public. 17's Christian Galeno has more.
We are here on the people's request for a gag order.
Defense counsel for Jaqueline and Trezell West agreed with prosecutor Eric Smith Tuesday morning that a gag order should be granted in the case that has garnered much public attention. The order bars attorneys and their investigators and law enforcement involved in the case from speaking publicly. It also applies to witnesses and court personnel with access to reports filed in the case.
How about potential witnesses?
Attorney Alexia Torres Stallings requested to include potential witnesses. Additionally, Judge Louie ordered all search warrants and grand jury transcripts sealed.
We're here for the gag order.
The biological family of Orrin and Orson West were present in the courtroom, joined by community supporters.
The mistake that they made it in the beginning, removing the babies, now we have to bury them. And that's a mistake that you can't, bring them back. So we're here to make sure that no mistakes are made, there's a fair trial, and we just want justice. That's it.
They all agree the gag order is needed for a fair trial so that justice prevails.
It was a lot of mistakes. We just wanted to be straight, no mistakes. Everything ain't perfect, but to the best of the ability to get it right this time.
That was 17's Christian Galeno reporting. The Wests have pleaded not guilty to several charges, including 2 counts of second-degree murder. They were arrested March 1st after being indicted by a grand jury. No bodies have been found by law enforcement. Trial's currently scheduled for May, but it will likely be postponed.
Crews removed a man's body from inside a water well in southwest Bakersfield yesterday afternoon. That well is located on Nearstein Road near Demerit Avenue, south of Stockdale Highway. The body was discovered Monday afternoon, but police say it took first responders some time to figure out a way to successfully remove it. California Water Services, which operates and maintains the well for the city, said it has been offline since November. There is no indication water quality has been affected.
Your time now is 5:04. War and gas prices are top of mind as we approach the 3rd week of Russia's onslaught on Ukraine.
This as Russian forces move closer to the heart of the country, Ukraine's capital city, Kyiv. NBC's Bree Jackson has the latest from Washington. Bree?
Good morning, Alex, Maddie. President Biden announced the ban on Russian oil after mounting pressure from both parties. And while the move strikes the heart of Russia's economy, sanctions have so far failed to stop Russian aggression.
Defending freedom is going to cost.
The U.S. hitting Russia with one of its toughest punishments yet.
We're banning all imports of Russian oil and gas and energy.
Oil and gas products account for 40% of Russia's revenue. However, the U.S. gets just 8% of its imports from there. President Biden acknowledges Americans could see additional increases in gas prices.
I'm going to do everything I can to minimize Putin's price hike here at home.
Republicans criticize the Biden administration for not boosting U.S. oil production sooner.
We need to be ramping up. We need to be ramping up right now.
McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and Starbucks now joining a growing list of major U.S. companies pausing operations in Russia, striking another blow to Russia's economy. As the 2nd week of war continues, Ukraine's president is vowing to fight to the end.
We are looking for your help.
Getting a standing ovation after an emotional speech to UK's parliament. Ukrainians echoing his defiance.
There is no way we're going to be under Russian government.
U.S. intelligence officials warn Vladimir Putin is growing frustrated and may intensify his assault.
He's likely to double down and try to grind down the Ukrainian military with no regard for civilian casualties.
Between 2,000 to 4,000 Russian soldiers have been killed so far, according to U.S. estimates. Still, Russia has 95% of its military power intact in Ukraine. Congress is racing to provide close to $14 billion in aid to Ukraine. The measure includes money for humanitarian efforts, as well as to help support Ukraine's economy and military. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for 17 News.
And community members gathered in downtown Bakersfield yesterday to pray for the people of Ukraine. It took place at the Liberty Bell last night.
See people coming together, to see hope rising in the midst of this catastrophe is amazing. But we're praying that God would shut this thing down, and so life could continue on, and that people could live and have freedom as they seek.
Last week, a small group of supporters gathered at the corner of Stockdale Highway and California Avenue, calling for an end to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. If you want to help the people of Ukraine, we have a list of available resources on our website, kget.com. And you just saw it a moment ago in downtown Bakersfield. The county administrative building is lit up in the colors of Ukraine's flag, showing some solidarity with the besieged country as the Russia invasion continues.
As always, during wars, the most vulnerable are young children. That's why Valley Montessori Academy is holding a donation drive, collecting much-needed baby formula and children's medication. The donations will be sent to Ukraine on an upcoming humanitarian flight next week. If you'd like to donate, you can drop off formula, fever reducers, and children's painkillers tomorrow at VMA on Venture Way between the hours of 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. The medication must have an expiration date no earlier than May of this year. As we've been reporting, CityServe, a faith-based international nonprofit founded here in Bakersfield, is on the ground at the border between Ukraine and Poland, helping refugees who are fleeing the war in their homeland. Most of these people have crossed the border with what they could carry in a suitcase or backpack, leaving their worldly possessions behind. A grim situation for anyone. But one man is doing what he can to lift the spirits of the exhausted refugees. He towed his grand piano by trailer from his home in Poland to play music for refugees at this border crossing.
Pray for these wonderful Polish people that are serving their neighbors. They're being good neighbors.
Yep. And also, as we are just moving food across there, keep praying about this. The border is still open. The people in Ukraine, especially in the war zone areas, food is getting scarce. What we're shipping in right now is moving through the church networks. It is incredible what the Lord is doing through the churches, through his people. So again, just thank you from us right here.
Today, a 747 jumbo jet owned by United Parcel Service will touch down in Warsaw, Poland, and offload 1 million meals to be distributed to churches near the border that are CityServe partners and are caring for Ukrainian refugees. The flight, by the way, was donated to CityServe by UPS. We hope to have more updates from our Bakersfield CityServe team as the humanitarian mission continues to unfold.
You know, this is obviously just a terrible situation, what's happening in Ukraine, but I got to tell you, it has been really great to see all of the amazing work that has come forward from all over the world, everyone around the world helping in and pitching in any way they can.
Absolutely. 17 Court Watch now. Court documents obtained by 17 News say the family of the man accused in that hit and run that killed a 16-year-old pedestrian worked to help the man hide the vehicle involved. 48-year-old Juan Rodelas Ortega is accused of driving the pickup truck that hit and killed Angel Baruman in January on Niles Street. The documents state that Ortega's wife and daughter urged him to turn himself in, but he was worried that time spent in prison would leave his family uncared for. The documents state that after going out of town to replace parts damaged in the crash, Ortega spent a day vinyl wrapping his vehicle to change its appearance. The next day, the family went to Disneyland. Ortega and 4 members of his family were ultimately arrested for that crash. The next hearing is set for May 11th.
A hearing to assign a courtroom for what's become known as the Bakersfield 3 case is set to take place later today, and a judge ordered 10 witnesses to be there. The witnesses have been subpoenaed to testify at the trial of Matthew Queen, who, along with missing ex-girlfriend Bailey Despot, is alleged to have tortured and killed Micah Holsenbake back in 2018. The garage of Matthew Tyler Vandecastile is believed to have been the site of the torture and killing. Vandecastile took a plea deal and has agreed to testify at Queen's trial. Holsenbake and Despot, along with James Kolstad, became known as the Bakersfield 3. Acquaintances who were killed or went missing within 2 months of each other in 2018.
Two men accused in a deadly shooting appeared in court yesterday. 32-year-old Brian Cockendale and 28-year-old Erwin Moore were arrested Friday. They're accused of killing a man on South Porter Street near West Franklin Avenue in Ridgecrest. Cockendale and Moore both pleaded not guilty to murder charges. The name of the man who died has not been released.
In your 17 Crime Watch this morning, an investigation is underway at Wasco State Prison after an inmate died following a fight. Sheriff's deputies say the body of 42-year-old Michael Angel Iverson was discovered around 6:30 Monday night. Investigators say Iverson was involved in a physical altercation and died at the prison.
The coroner's office has identified a man killed in a crash on Highway 178 in Lake Isabella. It happened around 3:45 a.m. Monday morning. Officials say the CHP says that the vehicle made an abrupt turn near Elizabeth Norris Road. The car then traveled off the shoulder and down an embankment where it continued to overturn. CHP says 63-year-old Preston Cartwright died at the scene. Alcohol and drugs are not to be believed to be factors.
Now to the latest COVID-19 case numbers here in Kern County, and we continue to see a significant decline in new cases compared to just a week ago. Kern Public Health announced 162 new cases yesterday. 9 new deaths were also reported. State data shows 83 people in the hospital with more severe symptoms of the virus. 16 more are in the ICU. And while coronavirus numbers decline here in Kern County and mask mandates in schools expire at the end of the week, some local education officials are turning their attention now to vaccine requirements. 17's Chris Burton joins us in studio this morning with the latest. Chris?
Alex, formal opposition to a pair of state Senate bills concerning kids and the COVID-19 vaccine has reached the school board level. Despite many health officials recommending children receive the coronavirus vaccine, Rosedale Union School District's Board of Trustees don't like the idea of it being mandated in schools. They unanimously agreed yesterday to send letters to state senators Melissa Hurtado and Shannon Grove, urging them to vote against the legislation. One of those bills, State Bill 866, would allow minors 12 and older to get a vaccine, any vaccine, not just the COVID vaccine, without parental consent. The other, State Bill 871, would add the COVID-19 vaccine to the list of required vaccinations for California schools and remove exemptions based on personal belief. Their action comes less than a month after Kern County Board of Supervisors approved similar letters of concern to those two state senators. Panama Buena Vista Union School District and Standard School District did not announce any drastic changes in protocol at their board meetings last night. All 3 districts will follow the California Department of Public Health's guidance to move masking from a requirement to a strong recommendation at the end of this week. In studio, Chris Burton, 17 News.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.